Picture this. You're sitting on your couch, laptop balanced on your knees, finally deciding to sign up for that cloud storage or that streaming app you've been putting off. You go in with a plan. You tell yourself, I'm getting the basic. I don't need the bells and whistles. I'm being the responsible adult here. You click pricing and you're met with 3 columns. The basic is there. It's cheap, but suddenly it looks sad. It's missing that one feature you might maybe need 6 months from now. Then you look at the premium on the far right. It's got everything. It's the gold standard. But then your eyes land on the middle option. And it's weird. It's significantly more expensive than the basic, but it barely gives you anything more. In fact, it's priced so close to the premium that you actually do a double take. You think, wait, why would anyone buy the middle one? For just $3 more, I get the entire kingdom. So, you click premium. You feel like a genius. You just outsmarted their pricing department. You optimized your life. You're getting the best value. But here's the part no one tells you. You didn't upgrade because your needs changed in the last 30 seconds. You upgraded because that menu cornered you. You walked in planning to spend $5. You walked out spending $15. And the crazy thing? This is happening when you pick an airline seat, when you're looking at car trims, and even when you're choosing which apartment to rent. It's not a coincidence, and it's not random. It is an engineered, invisible hand moving your mouse for you. What if I told you that the worst option on that screen isn't actually there to be sold? What if it only exists to move you? And what if you're falling for this every single time you open your wallet? My name is Jim, and today I'm going to show you why your brain breaks the moment it sees 3 prices and exactly how you're being moved without ever feeling a push. Section 1. Name the invisible force. I know that feeling. You're looking at that middle option and thinking, who is the idiot at this company who priced this? They're literally giving away the premium version for almost nothing. But here's the shift. That middle option wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a bad deal by accident. In fact, the company doesn't even want you to buy it. If their sales data showed that 0% of people were choosing the middle tier, they wouldn't change it because it's already doing its job perfectly. That job is to be a decoy. In the world of behavioral design, this tactic is known as the decoy effect. Some people call it asymmetric dominance, which is just a fancy way of saying one option is designed to be completely overshadowed by another. The decoy isn't there to be sold. It's there to rearrange your reality. It's a psychological nudge that takes a difficult decision, should I spend more money or less, and turns it into an easy one. Which of these two similar things is the better deal? You weren't choosing a product. You were being guided toward a comparison that was rigged from the start. Section 2. Why your brain falls for this. Now you might be thinking, okay, Jim, I'm a smart person. Why did I fall for a trick that simple? The truth is, it has nothing to do with intelligence. It has everything to do with how the human brain is wired. See, as humans, we are actually terrible at judging absolute value. If I handed you a high-end, professional-grade espresso machine and asked you exactly what it's worth, down to the dollar, you'd probably have no clue. Your brain doesn't have an internal price list for every object in the universe. But what we are spectacular at is comparison. We are comparative creatures. Your brain doesn't ask, is this cloud storage worth $15 a month to me? That's a hard, philosophical question. Instead, your brain asks, is this $15 option better than the $12 option next to it? That is a much easier question to answer. Your brain is constantly looking for a reference point, a North Star, to tell it what a good deal looks like. The decoy effect works because it provides a fake reference point. It gives you a bad option to look at, which suddenly makes the expensive option look like a bargain. You didn't buy the premium because you needed it. You bought it because, compared to the decoy, your brain told you it was the only logical choice left. Section 3. Break down the 3-option trap. Let's look under the hood and see how this actually works. If you only have 2 options, Option A, which is cheap and basic, and Option C, which is expensive and full-featured, your brain has to make a real value judgment. You have to decide if the extra features are worth the extra cash. For a lot of people, the frugal side of the brain wins, and they pick A. But the moment you introduce option B, the decoy, everything shifts. Option B is designed to be just slightly worse than option C, but priced almost the same. It's what we call asymmetrically dominated. Suddenly, option A, the cheap one you were originally going to buy, vanishes psychologically. It's no longer in the race. Now, the battle is between B and C. And since C is clearly a better deal for just a tiny bit more money, your brain locks onto it. You feel like you found a loophole. But you have to remember, the decoy doesn't compete to win. It competes to lose in the right direction. It's a sacrificial lamb designed to make you feel like the most expensive choice is the only smart choice. Section 4. Multi-industry proof. Once you see this pattern, you can't unsee it. It's like a glitch in the matrix that starts appearing everywhere you look. Think about the last time you booked a flight. You see basic economy, where you basically can't bring a bag or breathe. Main cabin, and main cabin plus. That middle seat option is often priced so close to the plus version that you think, well, if I'm already paying for a carry-on, I might as well get the extra legroom for $20 more. Look at your phone. Why is the 128 gigabyte model $800, the 256 gigabyte model $950, and the 512 gigabyte model $1? 050. That middle tier exists solely to make you look at the top tier and say, it's double the storage for only $100 more. I'd be crazy not to. It's in the car dealership, where the mid-trim package has half the features of the luxury package for 90% of the price. It's at your local gym, where the basic membership doesn't include towels, the standard is $50, and the elite is $60 and includes classes, a sauna, and a t-shirt. It's the same script, played out in different industries, targeting the same flaw in our hardware. We think we're being savvy consumers, but we're actually just following the breadcrumbs left by a pricing strategist. Section 5. Why this is expensive over time. At this point, you might be thinking, so what, Jim? It's just an extra $3 on a streaming app or $50 on a phone. Does it really matter in the long run? And then it hits you. It's never just one purchase. The danger of the decoy effect isn't the single upgrade you made today. It's the cumulative effect of being consistently nudged just a little higher in every single category of your life. This is how budget leakage happens. You aren't being reckless with your money. You're being optimized into a slightly more expensive version of yourself, over and over again. Think about it. If you choose the best value on your cloud storage, your gym membership, your car trim, and your phone plan, you've suddenly added $300 or $400 to your monthly overhead without ever actually deciding to change your lifestyle. This is subscription inflation. You didn't set out to have a luxury lifestyle. You just made 10 smart decisions that, when stacked together, quietly eroded your financial range. You're not broke, but you're working harder than you should have to, just to maintain a level of consumption you didn't even want 10 minutes ago. Section 6. The emotional driver. Here's the part where things get uncomfortable. Why is it so hard to just click the basic button and move on with our lives? It's because of a deeply human glitch called loss aversion. We don't just love getting a good deal. We hate the feeling of leaving value on the table. The decoy effect is designed to make the cheaper choice feel wasteful. When you see that the premium version is only a little more than the decoy, your brain stops seeing the price tag and starts seeing a penalty. If you pick the cheap option, you feel like you're missing out. If you pick the middle option, you feel stupid because you're overpaying for less. The menu is engineered so that spending less feels like losing. The only way to escape that feeling of regret, the only way to feel like a winner, is to spend the most money. Companies aren't selling you features. They're selling you an exit from the psychological discomfort they created the second you looked at their pricing page. Section 7. How this affects major life decisions. Up until now, we've been talking about streaming apps and gym memberships, the small stuff. But once you understand the mechanics of the decoy, you start to realize it's being used to guide your hand on decisions that define your entire life. Decade. Think about apartment hunting. You see a one-bedroom for $1,800. Then you see a two-bedroom for $2,400. And then there's the premium two-bedroom with a view for $2,550. Suddenly, that $2, 550 unit doesn't feel like a massive financial stretch. It feels like an absolute steal compared to the standard two-bedroom. You've stopped asking, does my life actually require me to spend an extra $750 a month? And you've started asking, which of these units is the best deal? That mental shift is where the danger lies. When you stop evaluating your own needs and start evaluating the menu, you lose. You end up with a fully loaded SUV you only use for groceries, or a software suite for your business with 20 features you'll never open. You aren't buying what you need, you're buying the best version of a comparison someone else set up for you. Section 8. How to fight back. The good news is that the decoy effect relies on being invisible. Once you see it, the spell starts to break. Here is how you reclaim your agency. First, identify the ugly option. Whenever you're presented with 3 choices, ask yourself, which one of these looks bad on purpose? If you can spot the one that seems awkwardly priced or strangely limited, you've found the decoy. Naming it out loud, literally saying, "That's the decoy," strips it of its power. You can now ignore it and go back to the real question, A or C. Second, decide before you see the menu. The most expensive mistakes happen when we let the pricing page tell us what we want. Before you click pricing or walk onto the car lot, define your must-haves. If you only need 100 gigabytes of storage, don't even look at the 500 gigabytes value pack. Treat the comparison as noise. If it wasn't a must-have before you saw the price, it isn't a must-have now. Third, ignore value per unit traps. A common trap is thinking you're saving money because the larger option is cheaper per gigabyte, per square foot, or per feature. But here's the reality. You don't save unused features. You only save dollars. If you spend $20 for something you only need $10 of, you didn't save 50%. You just lost $10. The menu is designed to make you feel like a savvy investor, but your bank account only cares about what actually leaves the building. Stop looking for the best deal and start looking for the best fit for your life. My name is Jim, and I think we should all spend a little more time looking at the menus of our lives. If this helped you spot a decoy today, would you like me to share a few more invisible ways your spending is being engineered? Section 9. Reframe smart shopping. We need to address the ego trap once and for all. We've been conditioned to believe that smart shopping means maximizing the amount of stuff we get for every dollar spent. We look at the top tier plan and think we're being efficient because we're lowering the cost per feature or the cost per gigabyte. But here's the hard truth. Smart isn't maximizing features. Smart is paying for what you actually use. Overbuying is not efficiency. It's a form of silent waste. When you pay for a premium subscription, but only use the basic tools, you haven't won. You've just volunteered to pay a tax on your own potential. The company isn't worried about the value you're getting. They're only looking at the revenue they're receiving. Efficiency isn't about the math on the screen. It's about the math in your life. If you spend $5 on exactly what you need, you've achieved 100% efficiency. If you spend $15 to get triple the value, but only use a third of it, you've just subsidized the company's profit margin. Let's go back to that Saturday morning on the couch. You're looking at that pricing screen again. The middle option is staring at you, looking awkward and overpriced. The premium option is glowing, whispering about how it's the best value. This time, you don't feel like you're outsmarting the system by clicking the big one. Instead, you see the invisible lines of the cage. You recognize the decoy for what it is, a signpost designed to point you toward their pocket, not your needs. Menus don't have to control you. You are allowed to choose the small option. You are allowed to be the person who gets less value per unit if it means keeping more dollars in your pocket. You don't owe these companies your upgrade. The next time you feel that nudge, that internal voice saying, it's only a few dollars more, I want you to pause. Ask yourself if you're buying a solution or if you're just responding to a comparison. My name is Jim, and I think we'd all be a lot wealthier if we stopped trying to be smart shoppers and started being intentional ones. If you have a friend who always insists on picking the premium version because it's the better deal, maybe send them this. It might save them more than a few dollars.